Yo, Big D back when you know what that means. We're talking Jags on the Big D podcast. Before bringing my friend from Duval County, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. See all my content. It's not just Wild Card weekend anymore. It's Super Wild Card weekend. So you know we've got plenty of content on the way. Also check out the Big D podcast for all you audio listeners on Spotify and Apple. So joining us to talk Jaguars wild card is my friend from Duval County, Brad Harvin. Brad, can you believe it? The Jags are in the playoffs.
Yeah, Dylan, it's crazy, man. It's pretty wild around here, and for me, and I think for you as well. It's always been the Jags, right? I mean, I was there since '95 when it first started. I was at their first game. I didn't make the game the other night, but I was sure to be locked in with my family. We watched it. We're going to do the same thing this week, man. So, yeah, we're pretty pumped around here.
Well, let me tell you this. I was walking Saturday night, so I was like half checking my phone for like texts and scores, and then half checking the game I was walking. But it was, to be honest, one of the most nerve-wracking games I've seen in a long time, because thinking your team's got a chance to see making the Super Bowl.
Okay.
We've got a chance to see the Jags in the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. And now this game against our heated rival, Tennessee, which always seems to annoy us, because think back to '99 when Jags were
14-2,
15-3, and all three of those losses came against one team.
Yep. I was at two of those. Yep, I remember that.
You sure?
Yeah, it's been it was definitely a nerve-wracking game. I mean, hats off to Tennessee for coming in with that game plan, and Joshua Dobbs. I mean, really, certainly playing above and beyond what anybody thought was going to happen here. He was very, very efficient. Derrick Henry got the ball 30 times. Fortunately, the Jaguars were able to have one of his big runs come back for a penalty. But, I mean, it's just a hard-nosed defense. Jacksonville couldn't do anything with the running game. Had some missed opportunities, but were able to capitalize in the end and take advantage of the I would say, that offensive line in Tennessee has been certainly decimated all year with injuries, and they were able to take advantage of it with the safety blitz, and Allen was able to scoop and score and take it home.
Yeah. How about Rayshon Jenkins for the second time in 4 or 5 weeks? He ended the Cowboys game with pick six, and then his rush forced this fumble, which Josh Allen scored. And every time in that situation, I'm thinking the refs are going to call it dead because it's either an incomplete pass,
right?
But yet this was the one time where they let the play stand and the Jaguars scoop and score.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when in real time, I definitely thought that there was that possibility of it being a incomplete pass, and we would get the punt, and hopefully Trevor would take us to the promised land. But after that first replay, they showed it. He knocked it out before the ball, where his arm was going forward, and and then defense was able to stay strong again and seal the victory. I mean, there were certainly some missed opportunities on the field by the Jaguars that I don't want to talk too much about, but I mean, everybody talks about the one unfortunate turnover in the first half with the crazy option pitch to Agnew. But I got to tell you, Dylan, I've seen the play a couple times. If Agnew catches that ball, he can either run for a touchdown or he could throw it, which I think personally it was going to be the Duval delight. I think he was going to throw it to ETN, who there was nobody on that left-hand side. Agnew would have had one person to beat on the corner, but if he would have just lofted it to ETN, I mean, we would be talking about how brilliant it was. Instead, everybody's like scratching their head. Oh, why did you do it at that point of the game and whatever? I mean, I think it was drawn up great. Execution obviously was poor, maybe the timing I can understand, but I mean that's what Doug Peterson is. I mean he's a gambler. He's a riverboat gambler. I think something special was about to happen there, and unfortunately they just kind of fumbled away. And but they were still able to come away with the victory.
I will say this: Jacksonville's red zone execution was bad. Trevor missed a couple of throws. I mean, the one throw to Kirk for the touchdown was nice, but Trevor did not play his best. He missed a couple.
Yeah, he's gonna have to play better this week.
Throws. It seemed like the Jags were a little
tense. Oh, they were tight. Game. Yeah. Oh yeah, they were tight. They definitely tight. I mean, but then the experienced veterans like Rashawn Jenkins, kind of came through. So it was good to see. And the big man in the middle, who really hasn't really been on the team too much. He was stuffing the run. Apparently, he's a 11-year vet, and he was sticking it to Henry all night long. I mean, Henry got 100 yards, but I know he was having trouble to walk on Sunday morning after it.
How about Trayvon Walker making plays?
Yeah, he played well too. It's good to see.
So Jaguars got by the Titans and now hosts Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers this coming Saturday night. So think back to what happened in week 3 where the Jaguars didn't win that game, but dismantled the Chargers 38-10.
Yeah.
Am I seeing that right? 38-10.
Yeah, that's what it was, Dylan. And I heard a interesting fact this morning driving in because somebody was like, hey, do you remember what the score was after the first quarter? It was 0-0. 0-0. Then Jacksonville opened the scoring up with a field goal at the beginning of the second quarter. They were able to score again, and then Herbert was able to hit Mike Williams down the sideline for a touchdown. And then it was just all Jags pretty much from there to take him to a 38-10 victory. Granted, Herbert was battling some sore ribs. If you remember right, there was questions whether or not he was actually going to play, really leading up right to the game. So, I think they're coming in here. I mean, they're hungry. I mean, they have the headlines out there. In my opinion, they're on paper, they're one of the most talented teams in the NFL as far as weapons for Herbert. Obviously, Eckler, and that defense does underperform at times. And when they're on, but they're definitely vulnerable. But they've seen the headlines. They're hungry. They're looking for a victory. It's going to be a nice battle between two young quarterbacks and two, in my opinion, up and coming franchises.
Yeah, I don't know how much you can take back for that week 3 game. Yeah, the Jaguars won, but LA was hurt. I mean, Herbert was dealing with cracked ribs or some rib injury.
Right.
I don't believe Keenan Allen played.
Yeah, Allen was out. Yeah.
Playing that game, Austin Eckler was barely used in that game. So
I want to say, Bosa was out.
What else to do?
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's gonna be loud and rowdy here again. I'm glad it's another night game for Jacksonville. I know the Duval faithful is happy to have some night games around here. We don't get them too often, especially at home. So they were out in full force the other night, and hopefully they'll have something, be able to cheer a little bit more steady instead of really kind of being on pins and needles there for really, I guess, about 57 minutes.
And one other thing for this game, not just two of the best young quarterbacks in football, but there'd be plenty of hair.
Oh yes.
I mean, my mom calls Trevor Lawrence Fabio Jr.
I like that. That's good.
And it's not like Justin Herbert's head of lettuce is short by any stretch. So.
Exactly. Yeah, he's at least got a little bit of a trim since he first came in, but they both got some lovely locks on them, I guess you could say. It makes me jealous here because I'm missing a little bit up top.
Yeah, I just got a haircut today, so mine's not quite the lettuce it was a few weeks ago.
Gotcha.
So where does Trevor Lawrence rank among the playoff quarterbacks? Because regular season playoffs can be different, but where do you have Trevor Lawrence ranked among the 14 playoff quarterbacks?
Oof, wow. I just gotta kind of jog my memory here. Who's even in the playoffs? I mean, I would certainly have him above both the quarterbacks in that first game. I have him above Geno Smith and Brock Purdy. Let's see here. Whoever the Dolphins are going to trot out there, certainly better than them. We don't know what's going on in Baltimore. Is Lamar going to play? And if he does, how effective is he going to be? So there's got to be question marks about that. I'm going to go out on a limb. The way Trevor's been playing, I mean, he has certainly been outshining. I mean, with the exception of the last game, he did have some struggles, but he's been outshining, Dak Prescott. Daniel Jones is coming in pretty hot, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, I would say kind of middle of the pack there. I mean, you got your normal players. You got your Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes up there at the top, and of course the old man is still down in Tampa, but he's I don't want to say a shell of his old self, but I mean he's certainly had a step back this year. But I'd put Lawrence in the middle of the pack. What about yourself?
I've got Lawrence. I'm not going to tell you the whole list, but I will tell you where Trevor Lawrence is. He's number 5 on my playoff quarterback rankings.
Okay. Wow.
You just have to hear the rest. You just have to hear the rest of the list when it comes out later this week.
Okay. I'll be sure to keep an ear out for that. Sounds good.
But I don't know if it's showing my bias or anything, but I think Trevor Lawrence is that good. And
yeah.
I'll look at how well he's played. I mean, yeah, last week wasn't great, but since week 9, week 10, Trevor's been like first in passer rating. So Trevor's been doing well. And thinking back to what happened at Clemson. Yeah, this Trevor's first playoff start, NFL playoff start, but this is not his first time in the spotlight. So I think Trevor's going to be great in this game, and the fact that Jags are home will only help him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Lawrence. I mean, his weapons are right up there with some of these teams that are in the playoffs. I mean, Christian Kirk having a phenomenal year. Evan Ingram's certainly turning heads. Statistically a top 5 tight end, if not higher. Zay Jones, when he's not dropping the ball, can be very, very effective as well. And then the old man, Marvin Jones, still out there making key third down catches, moving the chains. I'd like to see them get ETN moving a little bit this week, kind of find some holes. I think they're going to be able to against that Chargers defense. That front is not near as formidable as the Titans. So I'd love to see ETN get going a little bit. So, I mean, I talk about those weapons and then just think next year, Calvin Ridley's going to be on the squad. I mean, you want some weapons, come on down to Jacksonville. And unfortunately, there's only one football to pass it around, but that's a good problem to have, in my opinion.
Yep. So, who needs a big day for the Jags against the Bolts on Saturday night?
I think collectively, I'm gonna stick with the offensive line, which had a great game against Tennessee. I think Trevor was sacked once, maybe twice, but for the most part, he was kept clean. But if you're looking for one individual, I'm gonna stick with the running back. I'm going to stick with ETN to get things going, because if he gets going, that's going to open up the play action pass, which in turn is going to get Trevor going, give the receivers some space down the field and make things happen. So I'm going to stick with number 1 and go with ETN. Who do you got?
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say one guy on offense, one guy on defense. But the guy on offense is Evan Ingram, because Ingram was great a couple games recently, and been a little quiet. But I think Evan Ingram will be big, because the Chargers give up a lot of plays to their tight ends. I've heard a lot of people say play your tight ends against the Chargers. When Evan Ingram's a threat, and I'm not sure if the Chargers have got a great matchup for him.
Right.
Yeah, Derwin James is a really good safety,
but
he's
a lot of risk.
But he's better in the box.
Exactly.
So Ingram. So if that's the matchup, I think the Jags would take it, especially if Ingram gets 8, 10, 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then defensively, what is his name? Aloakon, the
tackling machine,
the Yaley, fella. That guy was everywhere on Saturday night, and let's see, Derrick Henry was running the ball for Tennessee on Saturday night. You know who the Chargers have coming out of the backfield? Mr. Austin Eckler. He's pretty good, right?
He's pretty good. He's certainly dynamic and do a little bit of everything out of the backfield. Certainly a matchup nightmare in the passing game, so you got to keep an eye out on that. But no, Oluokun has been fantastic. Second year in a row, he's led the league in tackles. I believe he's like 15, 20 more solo tackles more than the next guy as well. So certainly a guy who is in the right place at the right time, gets the players around him in the right places as well. And he's a pretty surefire tackler as well. So yeah, both good picks. Ingram was my 1B. I was going to say Evan Ingram, but I'd still like to see ETN get rolling a little bit.
Hey, you know what? Chargers give up a lot of yards to the running back too.
Yes, they do.
So get this. It has been way too long since the Jacksonville Jaguars won a playoff game. Do you remember the last time the Jags won a playoff game?
I do. Yes. I mean, it was January of 2018 up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and it was and it was one of the wildest playoff games the Jaguars ever played. Jacksonville won, and I'm not kidding, 45-42. You think Steelers in the playoffs, you think 17-14, not shootouts.
Yeah, well, that Steelers team certainly had the weapons as well with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, before both of them kind of fell off the face of the earth, and Big Ben, who was still dealing pretty well up there. But that was the game, if I remember right. I remember Fournette going around the right side and waving somebody to begging for the contact, and pretty much just having a collision about 12 yards down the field. A lot of big plays in that game, and that was a fun game to watch. I actually made it to the stadium when they came back and was able to cheer them on and welcome them back home. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, how about Leonard Fournette, 25, 109, 3 touchdowns. Big Ben threw for 469 and 5 touchdowns. I'm trying. Didn't the Jags have like a fumble and a scoop? And
I think I want to say they had a pick six.
Pick six. It was just a crazy game.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah, touchdown.
That was the past. We're ready for Saturday.
Oh, and by the way, here's a good sign for the Jaguars. When was that game played? January 14th. When is this weekend's game? January 14th.
Okay, I like it. You did your research. I like it. Very good.
So, how did the Jags replicate their Week 3 win over the Chargers and avoid a one and done in the playoffs?
I think it starts on the defensive side of the ball. What they did against the Titans, bend, don't break. They gave up some field goals, which was fine. I'd like to kind of keep away some of those long drives and get off the field on third down and fourth down. Tennessee was able to string together, 12, 13, 14 play drives, which really just ate up the clock. Jacksonville only had 3 possessions in the first half. which was troubling. But and then offensively, as I mentioned before, I think getting the running game going is going to open up the entire offense. And so just, I mean, I'm thinking of a final score 27-21, something like that. Something still pretty interesting. I mean, I think it's going to be much closer than it was week 5, and with the Chargers coming in here, somewhat at full strength. I mean, kind of concerned what's going on with Mike Williams, but Keenan Allen's going to be out there. Eckler's looking good, so they're going to be ready to move the ball. Although they have been struggling recently, getting some points. Hopefully, Jacksonville can take advantage of that offense and come out on top.
One, I think the Jaguars have got to force a couple of turnovers. Jacksonville forced 2 in the first game. And we've seen the Jaguars rely on big plays, not just offensively, but defensively. I think Jacksonville is like number 2 in the league in points off turnovers, which is so weird because the Jags have got a young defense. Usually, young defenses don't get that many points off turnovers, but this Jaguar team's getting points from everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be huge to win turnover battle for sure.
2, I think the Jaguars have got to run the ball more because, everybody – last week, the Jaguars could not run the ball wolf of piddly poop against the Titans. But think back to what happened in week 3. The Jaguars ran the ball for 151 yards, and LA ran on 36 rushes. LA ran the ball 12 times for 26 yards. If Jackson runs the ball anywhere like they did in week 3, the Jags will win this game.
Oh, yeah. Completely agree. Yeah, control the ball, move the chains, and make them pay. Absolutely.
And third, the Jags have got to be better in the red zone because they were bad on Saturday night. And thinking back to that first game, LA was 1-3 in the red zone. Jackson was 3-6. The Jags have got to be better in the red zone. Whether that means and field goals are not going to win this game with Justin Herbert on the other team. You got to get 7.
Agreed. Completely agree. Yeah. Yeah, you got to make most of the opportunities when you're down there for sure.
Especially against a quarterback, because in these kind of games, when the other team has got a great quarterback, you've got a great quarterback on your team, you don't know what to expect. I mean, this feels like the best quarterback matchup of wild card weekend.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and you're seeing it by what Vegas is saying. There's no point spread. I think last I saw was even odds. So I think Jacksonville, they started off as like 1-point underdogs at home, but I guess the money's coming in on Duval, which in my opinion it should. So I mean, I think the crowd is going to be lit. It's going to be kind of a chilly night for Florida down here. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be, and it's not just 2 great football players, but 2 guys we may see in the playoffs for the next 8-10 years. Because you look at the AFC quarterbacks, I mean,
absolutely,
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lawrence, Herbert. Yikes!
Yeah.
How does anybody win a Super Bowl with those monsters?
Yeah, NFC is definitely shaking in their boots now that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are about to walk off in the sunset. They don't have much to contend, in my opinion, on that side.
I mean,
Jalen Hurts.
How many franchise quarterbacks would you be okay with in the NFC right now?
I guess statistically it would be Jalen Hurts, but I'm still not even sold on him. So and like I said, Dak has been kind of faltering off. Yeah, I mean it's AFC is certainly the quarterback heavy compared to the NFC side.
I mean, you imagine what the 49ers could do with Justin Herbert on the center instead of Brock Purdy. They win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the talent around him. Absolutely.
All right, Brad. Thanks for hopping on. Hopefully, the Jags will keep things rolling because I think we like it when the Jags will win. It's
definitely
nice to see different teams in the playoffs, and hopefully the Jags make it things interesting on Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can mark me down for next week if we get a win. I'll be happy to hop back on here with you and get prepared for the next trip.
I'll take Mahomes or Josh Allen next week.
Let's go. Let's do it. Come on.